Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to another Viva-Mundo webinar. Today we are joined by the wonderful ESCP Business School, and they will be here to discuss reasons of why you should join their wonderful school and how to apply. We also have a student here as well who will be able to answer all your questions throughout the webinar. We do encourage you to ask questions. Please feel free to do so in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We will get to those at the very end of the webinar, so do not worry if we don't answer them throughout. We will get to those at the very end. And hi to all those on Facebook. We will see you very soon as well. And if you can just register on the link below, that would be great. All right, I'm going to hand you over to Manon, who will be your host for today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for the introduction. So my name is Manon. I'm working at ESCP and located in Berlin. We will come to that in just a second. Today, the topic is how to apply successfully to the Bachelor in Management. So you'll see that it's mostly tailored for our process, of course, but I am sure that you will be able to get some useful tips and tricks for any application you're actually doing, because it's kind of the groundwork that everybody needs, to really nail an application, at least to a business school. So your bachelor team today, so we are two. So my name is Manon, I already said it. I am French. I've been working at ESCP for almost 2 years, and before that I used to work and study in Canada, Singapore, the US, and now Germany. And I'm super thrilled to be with Hunse today, who's one of our final year students in the Bachelor, and the floor is yours to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So as Manon has introduced, my name is Renze. I'm currently in my final year study at ESCP Bachelor program, and I'm based in the Berlin campus. So previously, I've been to the London campus in my first year, the Paris campus in my second year. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Speaking of which, questions and topics, we do organize as well webinars, online events, as well as offline. I mean, as far as we can for now, right, due to COVID restrictions. But the next one coming is this Saturday. We organize a virtual global open day. Registrations are free and open to all on our website, the Get in Touch in the Bachelor page. And we have other topics dealt with over the next few weeks and months. And also, yes, today, so first, if you guys want to tell us in the chat, like where you come from, that'd be nice. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A box, and we will answer them either along the way or live at the end of the presentation. And we will also share some stuff in the chat for you to check. So I guess that's it. We can start. So very straightforward agenda today. The goal again is to really guide you through some of the part of the application process, like using the ESCP platform if you want to apply to the Bachelor program. Then also give you some tips for your personal statements. And finally, last but not least, if you get to the interview stage, like how to nail and properly prepare for your interview. And so without further ado, I will start first by going quickly through the steps to apply. So again, I will only deal with the ESCP platform. So if you're considering applying through Parcoursup or UCAS or the Common App, then it's a different process, but they are very specific process. Like the ESCP platform actually works for all kind of programs and high school. So the first step, obviously, is that if you're really interested in applying for the bachelor program, you would go to the website, then Bachelor in Management, and then click on Start an Application. Then you will be asked, of course, to create your own profile. So this is very straightforward. Then personal data. Please make sure that you fill out all the required, like the red star fields, because then you can't go to validation, and next step. As a school, we obviously like to know where you got information from us, like if it's from an emailing, if it's from the website, a friend, a referee, etc. So feel free to share that input inside with us. That'd be great. Then validate and go next. Then admission and Bachelor in Management. So you'll see, you can't see here on the screenshot, but if you click on admission, you have to select your program. I mean, it seems obvious, but sometimes we get the question. And you will see like all the programs offered by ESCP. So make sure you select Bachelor in Management, because you don't want to fall into the admission process of a master if you are just going out of high school, right? And obviously this one is from last year, but you will see along the way many instructions. Those will be updated for intake 2022 and onwards. So don't stress. Like what we explained to you today, what you can hear through a bachelor program presentation, or if you go to a school event, this is also repeated online in the system in your online application. You can also download the application guidelines, so you have it orally with us, written in the online application next steps, and you can also have the guidelines handy just for yourself. So plenty of support and materials to be sure you have all the information. And then next. Here, okay, we want to know who you are, a nice picture, preferably a picture like let's say a passport picture or ID card picture, so we see your shoulders, your face, it's straight. We can, the hair is not in front of the eyes and all, like something that is quite professional would be better. Thanks. Validate and next. Your address. So your address should be your parents' address. If you have several nationalities or several addresses, because it happens, write to us on bachelorberlin@escp.eu. I will remind you the contact details later. And then we see what's best, what's more relevant for you, because then you might not be handled by us if the address is different, from the target countries, but it's detailed enough. So just write to us if you have a doubt. Next. Here, your high school diploma. So there is a drop down list for you. If you don't find your high school diploma in that list, write to us, and then we see which one is the equivalent of yours. We have to have a drop-down list. We have the main diploma in the world, but we don't have them all. So yes, just write to us if you have a doubt, but you should find the main ones here. French school. So this is an example of a French baccalaureate, so the French high school diploma. Then you choose your specialty, the series of your bac, the year of when you graduate, the name of your high school. So you can use the original name, but you can also find the English name on Google. That's really up to you. It doesn't really matter. High school city and country, straightforward. Here, English test. So you might as well know that the Bachelor in Management at ESCP is fully taught in English, minus some specificities regarding, like, depending on the campus you choose. But English C1 level is super required in order for you to be comfy and succeed in the program. You have the minimum score here. IELTS, TOEFL, and Cambridge are accepted. TOEFL IBT, not IPT, is better. And any language certificates you might have is, of course, welcomed, like Spanish certificate, French, German, whatsoever, Italian, like any you have, you can add it if you want. Here you have two compulsory choices of track. Again, don't read what's in the other part of this slide, because it will be updated if you when you apply, because we have more track options now. More campuses are open in the first and third year, but at least it gives you a hint on what to expect. Why two compulsory choices? Because sometimes it's not possible to give you your first choice, because maybe you don't have the language requirements, or maybe you apply a bit late. So let's say after May, and it's not possible to satisfy your first choice because the campus is full, right? So 2 compulsory and 3 and 4 if you want to add more choices. Validate and next. You can download the template, CV template. If you don't have one, we can share it with you now in the chat. If you have one and it's up to date in English, use it. Please, 1-pager, if possible. Like sometimes we get 2 pages for a CV. It's too much, right? You should only put what's relevant for this school, for this program, and what I say now, tell you now, it's for any university. So just make sure it's no more than 1-pager. A bit more is fine, but not 2 pages for sure. Here, academic reference, we just need a name and an email address, and we'll do the rest. Don't be stressed about it. Should be a teacher and not a professional contact or the school director. It should be someone who's had you in class, who knows you well, and can assess that we are a good fit for you and you are a good fit for us. Second to last step is now it's time to upload your documents. So passport, ID, your high school transcripts, your diploma if you have it, your English test score, a personal statement, CV in English. All of this is reminded on the website. If you want more information about this, you can write directly to me, right? But it will be on the website and in the online application platform anyways. If you don't have your transcripts, if you're in last year of study, and of course it's December, so you don't have your final grades, and we understand that, that's totally fine. So we will write it in the system. The admission team will remind you on due time to send over your documents, but it's not an obstacle to submit your application, and it will definitely not alter your chances to get to the interviews. So don't be afraid. See, you have it here again. And I told you everything you need to know about the documents to provide. You are once you do that, you are automatically allocated to the next available admission day. And the campus, recruiting campus, is associated to your physical address, your country of residence. So if you are resident of a country handled by Berlin, you will be handled by Berlin, and you will be invited to the virtual admission days organized by Berlin, and it has nothing to do with your study track. So, because we've had the questions like, I don't understand, I got invited by Berlin campus, but I want to go to Paris, Turin, and finally Berlin, but I want to go to Paris first year, so I don't get it. So be reassured, it's two separate things. The recruiting campus and your study track are independent, so no worries. So if you're part of, if you're in Switzerland, let's say you will be invited by Berlin. If you live in, I don't know, the US, you will be invited by the London campus. But you might start in Berlin, in Paris, or in Turin in the first year. So now that it is out of the way, you pay the application fee, 60 euros, you validate. Of course, you need to accept the GDPR consent and all, like it's very classic. And that's it. You're in the system. So I hope it's clear so far. Again, if there are questions regarding this, please ask in the Q&A. So now we're gonna gently slide into a bit more details about the CV. Yes. So the CV, and I will ask Runze in a few minutes about her experience and insights. I will first tell you like the two main, I will first deal with the two main elements, aspects we are looking into in a CV, especially your soft skills and how to boost your CV through your soft skills. And then we will have a short chat about the CV. So the first thing that we love in a CV is look at your international orientation. Because as you might also know, the bachelor program is very international, 55 nationalities. If you want to know more, we have a recording of the presentation on our website. Get in touch on demand. You can watch all the recordings of our sessions, including bachelor presentation, and find more information about like the study tracks and international exposure. So if you don't have this information, I encourage you to check the website, download the brochure, and check the blog. Right. Now back to the CV, international orientation, very key for us. I will use 3 examples for CV, personal statement, interview, give you our interpretation and discuss about it. So that it gives you, I mean, it's more, it illustrates more, it's more concrete for you. So the first example that I've seen is enjoy traveling, discovering new cultures, painting, photography, creating jewelry. What crosses my mind when I read this person is default creative, has a creative mindset, very curious with different activities, different hobbies. So I assume that person will blend in easily in a multicultural setup. Example 2, that's high school person, last grade student, has lived already in Switzerland, the Netherlands, and France for his or her studies. So that's already great at 17 or 18 years old, depending on the profiles. That requires some kind of maturity and autonomy already. And since for the bachelor program, you have to change campus and country every year, that's a good sign. And last example, prepare to undertake challenges to achieve my goals. This one is easy, but we like it. I see drive and self-discipline. So all of those 3 really express motivation, determination, and autonomy. So that's what we really appreciate in particular. And you see that it really shows through experiences and not through a list of skills that you would put on your CV. There is a difference here. Like if you list your skills, somehow it's not as natural as letting us do, let's say, our job and assume and deduct those skills from what we learn about your life experiences. It's important. That's also what we call soft skills, right? And second big aspect we look into closely at least when I check the CVs, is the personal qualities. So first example, computing skills, board games, chess, managing a group, entrepreneur. That one is also easy, but critical. Here, clearly someone like chess, analytic, test department, this is we interpret it as analytical mindset. That's 100% sure. That person will identify problems, opportunities, and solutions. And this is good because the program is also super rich and dense, and it's a Bachelor of Science, so a lot of maths. So you need that kind of mindset. Of course, if you really don't like mathematics, maybe ask yourself the right questions, or ask us and the students more questions about the level of maths, how prominent it is in the program, and then think again and see if it's a fit for you or if it's not. Second example, love to participating in team building activities. So here we have a team player, which is also good, because whereas in the Bachelor at ESCP or in any business school, private business schools at least, you will have a lot of group works and assignments. You will work on many projects. So you need to be a little bit open to suggestions and discussions and work in a team. And last example for the CV part is head of soccer team playing regularly with young refugees. Here we have someone who likes initiatives, head of soccer team, and playing regularly with young refugees. So clearly someone that is also open-minded, very human, volunteer mindset. So that's great. Now that you have a little bit more clear idea of what we can expect in the CV, a handful of don'ts, because with the do's you always have the don'ts. So here, I just told you a bit earlier, like don't list your qualities because we have to kind of guess your qualities through your experience. So here, that's typically this kind of don'ts. It also, maybe you're not, and there are no right and wrong. I mean, no right experience, no wrong experience. Don't stress yourself too much. But this shows, like, even for a recruiter, if you're applying to a job offer, it's kind of overselling yourself. So, and it's not needed in a CV, especially since you're applying to undergraduate programs. So just tell us a bit more about yourself, academic experience, volunteering experience, hobbies, language level, and personal details. That's already great. Don't take some room for this. Please use CEFR, so ABC level for your English or Spanish or language levels. Don't use ungraded or non-standardized data. It becomes really hard for the admission team to assess your levels if we cannot use a scale, And if you don't have your grades or scores yet, that's fine. Just tell us, but don't put it in the resume. It's just going to make it heavier, making also less readable, and you're not doing yourself a favor in facing the admission team. So quick pro tip for you. And this one is very easy. So you can see that this person, it started well, like she or he used our CV templates, but then didn't fill out the field. So clearly someone that did not read twice his or her CV, and that really shows badly on your application. So if you avoid those three examples, you are already standing out from the crowd. So well done. Okay. Now, second part, personal statement. So it's kind of a letter of motivation, although, or cover letter. I don't like the term cover letter. It's more for a job offer, and also it's not really customized. Usually it's impersonal, and at ESCP, at least we like when it gets not personal, but it's not what I mean, but you know, when we really get to know you through your personal statement. So it should be one-pager, Word document, 1.5 page also works. It's not a description of your CV, it's more like taking one or two experiences in your CV, elaborate them, and link them to your wish to join us at ESCP and the Bachelor. So your experience should be those who shape you the way you are today, and who gave you this real wish to join the Bachelor in Management, and why. Because the CV, we have it already, so we've read it, so it's no use to say, okay, I went to that school, and then I did this internship, I did this and this. You're wasting your time, and for us, you should tell us what's not really in your CV, something that we cannot guess through your CV. And here I will go through some example again. So here clearly we have international exposure through this example, going on delegations to Italy or Asia, followed by the greatest passion for traveling and exploring new culture. Super straightforward, no surprise, and you'll see that what shows in the personal statement in terms of qualities is really matching what we expect in your CV as well. So everything is consistent, no coincidence in here. Example here, capitals of countries that use the language I've been studying for the last 6 years, of a bilingual school. Motivation to join a multicultural program. And here I would like to briefly ask Runze to maybe confirm or contest this statement, what you think about the multiculturalism in at least in the Bachelor in Management program, and how maybe how it contributes to the cohort and to the options you get through these programs.
Yes, yes, Manon, definitely. So the Bachelor program is definitely very multicultural, and there are people from everywhere in the world joining the program. And also, I think what's really interesting is when you work in teams with other students, you always get to work with people from different nationalities, and you almost never find someone who is from your same country in the same team working together. And I think that's just very interesting because you get to make friends with so many different people, and you get to maintain this friendship even after university. And also, I think it kind of prepares you for the real world after graduation. Whenever you go to the workplace, you are also going to work with a lot of diverse colleagues, and you are also going to work in teams to do projects together. So I think the Bachelor program is a good training and good practice for the real world as well.
Thanks a lot for your contribution and insights. And that's what I briefly said at the very beginning. I completely agree with you. And that's I kind of alluded to at the very beginning of this talk, is that whichever or regardless of the like university or program you are applying or considering applying to today, ESCP or another one, the groundwork that you are doing, achieving today, completing today, if you do it well or right, that will be useful to you anyways, like for any application to any university, if you do it seriously, and you will be able to reuse that knowledge, that CV, that personal statement as a basis for like to apply to internships, other masters later, or even to a job. So take this time today to do it well. So I see there are questions in the Q&A, very legit ones. I will get to it. No worries. I will answer them live afterwards. Yes, multiculturalism. This one, discovering ESCP Business School, made me take 2 steps aside and see that it doesn't have to be like this, that I can become the architect of my wall. So here it's sometimes I keep some of the personal statements that I check because they are very good. That one was full of those kind of I remember kind of images, and it is great because it also shows that this person really put his or her heart into writing it. You know, it comes from inside. There is a true motivation here. You don't have to write 2 pages using that kind of emotions, let's say, for us to figure out that, okay, you really want to join, regardless of your grades or your academic profile, you know, and that weighs a lot in your application. Enthusiasm, yes. And here, sociable team player, remember from the CV and the soft skills, here you go. Again, is the exact place that we provide me with more than just knowing how to achieve that. So here, yes, that's also, it's also well written. Remember the English certificates and the level that we ask for you to succeed in the program, but it also shows, also translates in how you build your CV and your personal statements. So the level of English, please make someone also reread your work, your CV, your personal statement, prepare you to the interview. For the interview, we will come to that in a minute, but it is always good, again, regardless of the university you're applying to have a third party involved. Like someone who's not ESCP, someone, maybe even not someone at school, you know, but a parent, like a relative, even a friend with a certain level, because you want to make sure they help you. But yes, use someone else, because sometimes even us, we need more opinions because you make mistakes. That's human. And here, yes, another image, when one door closes, another one opens, you have to want to keep going. This right there, it's also very enthusiastic. You don't have to use the same words, please use your own. What we want is your own, because if you're invited to interviews, if you've used somebody else's work or words, it will show in the interview because you won't have anywhere to hide. so make sure you are yourself already and natural when you are submitting, working on your documents for the online application. And here, before we dive into the last but not least parts of this presentation, I would also ask you, Runse, if ever, like when you applied, did you feel this kind of blank page here, like while, writing your personal statements? Like, did you know where to start? What was the kind of emotional process for you?
Yeah, so I feel like at the beginning, it's always a little bit difficult to start. And to be honest, when I was writing the personal statement, I also had the temptation to just like copy and paste my other personal statements I wrote for other universities and just submit this kind of the similar thing to ESCP. But my advice is definitely not to do that. Like, even though you are applying to different universities, you should still tailor your personal statements to each university you apply to, and make sure that you really know about the program and know about what is the unique qualities about this program that attracts you. Because at the end of the day, every university is different, and also why this program appeals to you is different from person to person. Someone may really likes the international environment, and for someone else, maybe it's the curriculum that's most interesting. So I think just to highlight that, just to make sure in your personal statement to be your true self and write about things that you think is the most relevant and most interesting to yourself, and it will be fine. Yeah.
Again, I can only approve and agree 300% with what you just said. That's also when we started this presentation, and I explained that I would only tackle the ESCP platform, like the ESCP admission process, and using the platform and not Parcoursup, Common App, or the UCAS. We really highlight, like, when it's possible to apply through our platform, it's better. Why? Also because of what you said, because it is tailored to us. The follow-up is very fast. We have admission sessions every month. You get your answers super quick. If something is missing or has to be amended, then we tell you quickly, and it really weighs in your application overall. If you apply through an app like UCAS or Common App, then you apply like it's one application for several universities. They ask very few documents, and it's super not customized. To be fair, it's a bit of a struggle for us, like admission and recruitment officers. So please make sure that you really put your heart and that you tailor your application to us and to any university. And I would go even further, and that's what we already said. Again, this is groundwork for later, what you are doing now. So any search info you look for to a university or another school, this also form your analytical mindset. They also teaches you how to look for the right and relevant information online, and to ask people about their insight about this and this program. I mean, you are doing yourself a favor doing this work now, because everything you do now, you won't have to do it later. So last but not least, my friends, the admissions days now. So CV, personal statement, step 1, online application, then you submit. You're invited to interviews. Or admissions days, as we call them. It's fully online at the moment, and we don't think it's going to go back on campus, at least for Intake 2022, and maybe as things are developing. I don't know how it is in your respective countries, but at least in Germany, it is not very looking super good. So we are not super optimistic that we will be able to welcome you for interviews on campus, at least before September 2023. For Intake 2023, so maybe next fall, or not next spring, but you get me, like in 1 year. Let's see. Stay tuned on our website. Anyway, we post everything online when we have updates. Okay. Admissions days, interview, like how to nail it. So you've done everything good so far. You go, you are invited. You know which campus is going to recruit you. You have your instructions, date, time, agenda. So now you need to be ready, right? So dress to impress. We don't ask you for your wedding suit or wedding dress, but please make sure you have a blouse or something that is kind of neutral, like, you know, like a blouse like I am wearing now, not a hoodie, definitely, or your PJs, but this is obvious, but you know, sometimes we have some surprises, let me tell you. Technically prepared, same for CV and personal statements, you know, like ask someone, a third party, maybe a relative or your counselor or I don't know, a teammate or classmate to do a mock trial with you. That would be great. Be yourself. Again, we are not there to trick you or trap you. There are no right or wrong answers. We want to know you. That's it. And see if we are a good fit and if you are a good fit for you. Use your desktop or laptop, please. No cell phone, because this is not very professional. And of course, relax. Again, no traps. So smile and try and, yeah, don't stress yourself out too much. The do's and the don'ts being too casual. So we like you being natural, but still it's an interview. So we are not your friends, but we want to really, we are super interested in you because you've been invited to interview. So you triggered a definitive interest. So yeah, business casual talks, that's perfect. Not being prepared, not setting up your camera right, make sure your background is neutral, use a virtual one if you want, but make sure the light is behind you, in front of you and not behind you, so that we can see your face. And your cell phone, everything, please, pro tip, put them in flight mode or on another room. But if you are checking your cell phone during the interview, it will show, and you're not doing yourself a favor, definitely. Almost the end of my monologue, and then we'll get into the question. You can expect three main types of questions, at least for the bachelor at ESCP. Motivational. So the jury member, they will pick someone from your CV and ask you to elaborate. So see, no trap here. Current news. Yes, try and be a bit informed. So we don't ask you to spend the night prior to interview to read Financial Times, the Forbes and everything, like it's no use, but at least be informed about a few international facts, news, like for the past week, let's say, because what can happen is that the jury members, they will ask you, hey, what have you learned during the past few days throughout the news? Can you care to elaborate on one that particularly like struck you? That can happen. And competency based, so what, at least in Berlin, what our jury members like is that putting you in kind of a situation. So they give you a scenario and they ask you your opinion about it and elaborate, or they can give you a context and three possible answers, and you pick one and you elaborate. That can be a very hot topic and ask you if you agree or disagree and why. So that can be examples like this. You might be asked something completely different. Don't stress if you don't know the answer or if it doesn't come straight away. because there are no right and wrong answers. They are not there to judge your opinion. They just want to see if you can, in a constrained time frame, you can elaborate an answer. So it's more like how you think and how you can elaborate an answer. The process matters more than the result. Right. So the next deadline is today, so I guess it's a bit late for you, but see, don't stress. We have admissions until end of July. Apply before May if you want to put all the chances on your side. Oh, there is a small glitch in the slide, sorry, but it's 13th and 14th of January. I mean, you can still see it, but it's a bit blurred. And here, so my contact, our contact is Bachelor Berlin at escp.eu. We can remind it in the right again in the chat. So either will be my colleague Denise or myself who will answer. And we use this email address because we might be traveling for fairs or maybe ill or, you know, whatever. So at least there is someone available to answer your questions in less than 48 hours. That's our goal, and usually it's during the same day. So feel free to ask anything after today if we can't tackle all the questions. Yes, so I think it is interview time.
Question time.
Question time.
Yeah, well, I can ask them for you. There's a few here, actually. Let's start with the first one. Are there any particular requirements or specific information you need from my old grades at my current school? I think you touched on this.
Yes, there are, of course, and as we are recruiting...
Do you have the slide? You can go back if you want to.
I don't have the slide because it's part of the bachelor presentation and it's super detailed depending on the countries. Mm-hmm. As we recruit across the world, we have many gradings scales depending on the high school diploma. So what I strongly advise to our friend who asked the question is to write to me at bachelorberlin@escp.eu and give me a transcript, explain like which school you are in, which country and high school diploma you get, and I will tailor my answer.
Okay, thank you. And Rans, thank you for
between international baccalaureate, Abitur, French bac, local baccalaureate, it's super different.
Of course, thank you. And Rans, thank you for answering all of the questions. There are quite a few that you've answered as well, but there was one you wanted to answer live. So here it is. Enthusiasm is key in applying, but what would we say is the most important thing to add into my application?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, you know, if you let's just take the CV first. So the CV, of course, there is this non-academic part, but there is the academics, of course, that you have to use the right template. Make sure it's updated. If you have your predicted grades or your maths business or like maths and overall grades, put them in. That will weigh in your favor as well because it's easier for us to read. The non-academics like volunteering, language, hobbies, make sure you list the experience, the location, and 1 or 2 bullet points, no more. This is also very good. So this is more like how you can present your experiences. Again, you can use the ESCP templates. It's, according to me, very nice, not because it's ESCP, but because it really lists all the information we need, and you just have to fill out the fields, so it's very easy for you. And then for the personal statement or your overall application, like even for interviews, yes, enthusiasm is a good start. But then again, like your international exposure, if you've traveled abroad even with your family, if you've had a volunteering experience, maybe you've been to boarding school, or maybe you attended a summer school, you know, or a short-term program somewhere around the globe, abroad. That's also very good. So international exposure, how many languages you speak, your high school diploma. We like volunteering, or even if you attended something at school, you know, in your within your high school, like if you're part of a student association, or if you've been assistant to, I don't know, which teacher for a certain initiative, if you wrote some papers as well. I mean, anything that can help us know you is good, but that's relevant. Only put what's relevant to the program you want to apply to, whether it's the Bachelor at ESCP or another one, but only use relevant information. Don't use everything.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And Runs, do you have any advice as a student?
I think Manon has covered this pretty well. I would just say similar things like, I know that at this point of time, you just come out of high school and you think that you don't really have a lot of experiences. You haven't go to do an internship in a large company or something. But I just want to say that any experience you have that you find it interesting and nice, it would be nice for the admission team to get to know you as well. So don't worry, you don't have a big name on your CV or your personal statement. Just write about something that you think is nice. And also, I think there's also another good question. I saw this person, Carmen, is asking, what tips would you give to me for improving my English on my application? So I replied to this question, but I just want to say that don't worry too much about your English. This is not an English literature program or something. So, but I think as long as you are able to clearly express yourself, and also you don't make grammatical errors, and what you write is understandable by other people, that should be fine. And also given that you meet the English test requirements. So do you have any idea, Manon?
No, and that's, I mean, it's very complementary to, I guess, what I briefly explained and what we, because that's why we always love having you, like, I mean, ambassadors or students or alumni with us during presentation, because then you have two sides of the coin, the same coin, you know, like you have the student point of view, like the insights stuff that the staff cannot know, and then you have the recruitment and admissions point of view, like the more the kind of the technical side of it, because we need to select at some point, and so we have our own criteria. But no, you are completely right, of course. But what you can also do, I mean, it's ask someone, maybe you have a friend that really like was fluent completely, or maybe native speaker, to read again your CV and your personal statement. Maybe you have a nice teacher that can also help out and correct and explain to you why this you should write that way and not this way. And completing or following up with also what you said, Runze, about not being scared about experiences, what you can put. Come on, you're applying to an undergraduate program. So we don't expect you that you have already 3 years experience in the consulting firm, or you've traveled in 10 countries, or you know, it's not that. Of course, if you've traveled or worked already, it's a plus. But we are also human, right? So right. So put anything that's relevant, that you feel shaped you, shaped who you are today, and why that would be useful in such a program. And that would already be a great start. And then you come to the interviews, you complete this written aspects by getting to know you like in the almost in the flesh, even if it's virtual, but at least we can talk to you. So yeah, don't be natural, be yourself.
That's good. I think this will kind of fall into the last question that I have here, actually, which is quite interesting. How will I be able to make myself stand out from a crowd in the application process? What should I do to help myself get in? Would personal experiences help, which I think you touched on?
It's funny because it's it's a legit question, and it kind of encompasses all the topics. But to stand out, first, you're here, you're attending this webinar, so you're eager to optimizing or improving the way you apply, whether to us or to another university. So you're willing to build a good CV, a good personal statement, to prepare well for your interview. So you're already kind of standing out from the crowd, so which is great. If you apply at least some of the tips and tricks we've given you today in your online application or in your application overall as a whole, you will already stand out from the crowd, because let me tell you, we see things sometimes. We wonder if the students in high school, they got a counselor or they had tips, because again, don't be too hard on yourself, because you're not applying to a master or a PhD program. The standards are higher, definitely higher. So we cut you some slack, definitely. But it doesn't mean that you can't do this properly now for later, right?
Exactly.
But if you apply the tips from today already, you will stand out from the crowd, at least from my perspective and from experience.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys, for a brilliant webinar. I think it's been very, very informative. There's been a lot of information there today. And I think it's definitely a useful tool to have. If you haven't been able to make it live, then you do have this on a recording, which is great. So we will be able to send this to you, and you can pause the video at moments where you want to write things down, or even just to take notes for future applications. All right, thank you guys for a very, very informative webinar. Thank you for the questions, and we hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you.